Alright, I got the heater hose situation kind of taken care of. I had a little leak. I got coolant in it. I'll start it up and run it up near operating temperature and try to get it to idle. I cannot go to operating temp or beyond it for long. I do not have the fans wired up, but I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and start it up, let it run for a little while, and see what it sounds like. Alright, I got it decent for not really being up at operating temp. The IAC is still pretty much stuck at 40, but I'm not going to fool with it too much more until I have coolant fans, so I can let it actually get up to operating temp properly and go through the idle, the TPS auto set and all that, and learn how to do that on this system. But I'm pretty happy with what it sounds like. I don't know if it just sounds better now or I haven't heard it in a little while, but I'm pretty happy with the way it sounds. What I'm going to do next is try to tap into the coolant fan fuse and have that be the power side of the relays I got for the coolant fan, and have the Terminator control the ground side of those relays. We are back to these fellas here. Pin 3 and pin 15 in this connector. This side of it, which is laying on the floor right now, have power all the time. I'm not sure the pin number on this, but one wire in here is directly from the underhood fuse box, fuse 60 for the fans, or fuse 60, 60 amp fuse for the coolant fans. That's directly to here. Let me turn this light off. This is the other side of the round one that I said didn't have the pins on. This black wire with an orange tracer is that direct wire from the fuse. So I'm going to use that for the coolant fans to supply the power to the relay, where the relay clicks and it turns the fan on. These two wires, pins 3 and pins 15, and pin 3 right here at the top. See if I can get a little closer. Yeah, pin 3. Come on, autofocus. There it is. And pin 15 at the bottom have 12 volts all the time. So you can use that for the control side of the relay. So instead of putting the relays on the driver's side, I'm probably going to try to pull them through there and keep them on the inside with a fuel pump relay and everything. That's my initial plan, that's my initial thought. So I blew this harness back apart, looking for, there's our old friend, the CCRM plug. These two, black with an orange tracer, it split somewhere that I had cut out from this one. That's in that plug. That's your input to the fans, or input to the CCRM for powering the fans. And these are your 12 volts, these yellow ones that we're supplying it, which are, I do believe, these two wires. And the green and yellow is our fuel pump output that we picked up from in the car. So I'm making more sense of all this. Cut this one back apart again. Like I said, I initially thought I was going to have to kind of make a harness work for the coolant relay, or coolant fan relays, but it looks like I'm going to pick up most of this, and maybe even put the relays in the passenger compartment. since I want to maybe put the coolant fan relays in here, I need to start cleaning this mess up. I need to shorten all those wires, put some connectors in them. Since I know the car fires and runs, and I want to get, the coolant relays in here, I'm going to unfortunately have to start with this routing. I've kind of been putting it off. Because as you can see, it's a hot mess right now. But all I've done is remove the 3 connectors and the bracket and all that. I had initially test fit that. I can't remember if I showed it or not in another video. But yeah, all I did is remove that bracket, and I'm trying to find a spot for everything to live. Which, admittedly, looks possible up here. I just gotta see what makes everything happy. I was removing the glove box to, get more room. It didn't look like it was too much trouble, so this was actually behind it. Apparently this is a super rare Ford Mustang Cobra GT. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. Somebody bought it when it had 17,000 miles on it and had a warranty on it. There's really nothing on here. Can't tell where it came from or anything, but I thought it was funny. It was just kind of shoved back here. It had fallen out of the glove box at one point. But I did remove the glove box to try to give myself more room to deal with this wiring. This is going to be the relay layout. Terminator X fuel pump power, fuse, coolant fan high, coolant fan low, coolant fan high, low, whatever. I have them tilted back a little bit to clear the bracket that sits here. This guy right here. And all that nonsense for the front. It tucked away pretty nice. Now I have to figure out is getting the output wired to the relays and the relays wired to the fan, and bring those wires I was talking about earlier into the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and start fooling with making low-speed fan harness. Alright, those are my 2 relay plugs that are going to go through the firewall. I picked up the power for the fans from this wire I talked about, the black one with the orange tracer. These 2 yellow wires, one's going to each relay. It's going to be power for the control side. Then I'm going to pick up from these 2 yellow wires that I talked about earlier. And these 2 are my fan wires. One's going to go to low speed, one's going to go to high speed. I tried my best to match the colors, but it just wasn't happening. And these 2 hanging off that aren't hooked up yet are going to be ground controlled from the Terminator. I got to set up the pins and all that before I hook them up. I'm going to make sure that that's correct. But this is in that harness that I saved before. Again, it's black with orange tracer, I believe. And I'll give you the pins again, but they're earlier in the video. I think it was 3 and 15. Out of this, I'm powering the control side. 1 each. One's pin 3 going to a relay. Pin 15 is going to a relay. And the orange or black with orange tracer that comes from the underhood fuse, 60 amp fuse for the coolant fan, is powering the coolant fans through the relay. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to try to pull them through the firewall and work on getting them hooked up. That might not look like much, but it's a pain in the butt. And I know they're not even, but I had to lean them back a little bit. And this was in the way, so it's kind of tough, but I'm pretty happy with it. Nobody's really going to see it unless people watch this. But they're all wired up. They're not connected outside yet, but the outputs are wired to the ground side of those two relays, low speed fan, high speed fan. It's pre-configured in the Terminator X Fox body kit. Alright, well, it's pretty much in there like it's going to be. I left the Deutsch connector tool, the crimper, at work, so I don't mind the bread ties. I'm just trying to tie it out of the way to make sure the routing of this is okay. I don't have anything holding it in place yet, so it's, you know, it's loose, and it's kind of loose up there, but the bracket's back on. The four connectors actually, are back in their spot. Here's my CAN connection, fuel pump relay, fuel pump fuse, and behind here are the two coolant fan relays, low speed, high speed. The kick panel should go back on, and everything kind of looks like it did before, so not too terrible, I don't think. But now I gotta work on fitting everything into that grommet, which may be a problem. The big old vacuum line for the map sensor, it's taken up a lot more room than I anticipated. But I'm gonna call it for the night. Doing this took quite a while. A lot of trial and error and feeling out where I want something, making sure it was going to run okay, and then actually doing it. But, you know, we're getting closer and closer. Tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow I'll run it and verify the fans. You know, the inputs or the outputs are working correctly. But for now, I'm going to have to call it a night.